Okay, so Tesco are committed to reducing food waste in several different ways. Now, apparently, the average UK household wastes £60 of food a month. That's over £700 a year. It's quite a lot, really. I mean, some it's overbuying more than you need, some it's just, various different things. At Tesco, we want to put an end to good food going to waste in our stores. And maybe I should have my microphone closer. By 2017, that's why we launched our Community Food Connection programme, which donates surplus food from our stores to charities and community groups that can help feed those in need. To help you at home, we have a lot of hints and tips which I will go through to help reduce food waste in your own home, which you'll find on the programme homepage. We will give you the opportunity to try 2 of our food ranges, which are designed to help reduce food waste. Perfectly Imperfect is a range, Jonathan Ross range of wonky fruits and veg that will change with the seasons. At the moment it's just fruits, but apparently there's going to be Perfectly Imperfect potatoes as well. Now, I mean, they used to do Tesco value range, and now it's Perfectly Imperfect. I mean, what sounds better, Tesco value or Perfectly Imperfect? I mean, it's saying it's imperfect, contradictory to perfect, so maybe you pick up on the perfect, maybe you pick up on the imperfect. They don't really look bad, or I'd rather it still be called Tesco value, to be honest, but they're getting rid of the value range in exchange for Wiltshire Farms and various things, which I will also go into. Now, this lets us take more of a particular crop from our farmers and offer you a great value product. The other is Eat Fresh, Keep Fresh Chicken, which I brought in with me. Aha, it's over there. It's £2.50 a pack, and you get 2 of them, and it's in a symbiotic pack that rips apart easily. Or 300 grams for £2.50, or you can get the Wiltshire Farms one for £1.90 or £1.96 or something like that. It's about 60p cheaper anyway. It might have been £1.89 even. And it's exactly the same looking chicken. It's just it's not in a symbiotic pack that rips apart. But if you're going to make the 2 fillets anyway and cook them, then, and, if it sits in the fridge, sure, it's not sealed, but for 60p extra, you can just buy a tub and seal it. It's kind of more wasteful, very wasteful in packaging, in my opinion, to do that. So the try-free coupons, great for starting conversations. And you'll notice that it's a picture of the guy reducing food, reduce to clear. That's another thing I'm going to talk about, is the way they reduce to clear products. Because, well, at the start of the day you go into a Tesco and there's stuff sat in the reduce to clear that isn't reduced. Every day in Tesco they just sit it off the shelves, not reduced. If you're going to do it, you might as well just reduce it there and then. Otherwise, what's the point? I would say take it off the shelves the night before. And, they do stupid reduction ranges like 10%, 5 to 10% to start with. And it's like, well, at that point, no one's going to do it because it's sat in the reduced to clear section. If people were going to pay the retail price, 5%, 10%, it's nothing. They're not going to pay that. Do it the night before, not the day then. And maybe start with 25%. Some people will buy it. And Tesco will get the profits. And then maybe in the morning, go up to 40%, 50%. More people will buy it. And then they've got set times where they go from 25 to 50% off to 80% plus. And the bad thing about that is that in my local Tesco, there's a group of ladies that sit there with their trolleys blocking off the aisle so no one else can get to it. About 6 ladies that the Tesco staff say go there every day. And because I was going there looking for the Perfectly Imperfect apples and pears constantly, which they never got in, they kept saying, oh yeah, we'll have a delivery. Oh yeah, we'll have a delivery tomorrow. 4 days straight, 5 days straight. No. So, but you go in there every day and, the people are in there, just sat by the reduced to clear section, and they're just repeatedly getting the reduced to clear products at 80+% off. And they're holding it in this entire basket, all of them, not basket, trolley, full to the brim, full of 80% plus off fruit and veg, and they're just holding it all to themselves, and it's like, Jesus Christ, maybe they're running a corner shop and they're selling the fruit and veg on, they're unpackaging it and selling it on. That makes the most sense, because otherwise, I mean, that many people just doing it, and you go in there to try and get the reduced product, and you know, whilst they were there and blocking off with their aisles, if you get past them, suddenly they grab everything off the shelves and hold on to it to pass to the guy to get their reductions, and it's like, you know, shout around. You know, don't hoard it all to yourself, and that's part of the food wasting, maybe because they're taking so much food, they don't care because it's 80% off, and it's like, oh, who cares if we waste it all? And it's like, well, other people could be eating that, and you know, the Tesco thing where they're gonna give it on to food charities and things for if it doesn't sell. So, you know, it's a bit dodgy, you know. Sure, it's nice to have the reductions for people who can't afford it, but when there's people like that, they're just like, hoard everything! And it's like, who cares if they waste it? It's like, no, you know, there are people that will be eating it. Take what you need, don't roll grease. Am I if I roll need? No, we're making Hearthstone references. Northern Lion, I blame you. But yeah, it's just not right that they hoard that much food and they're in there without fail every single day, 7 days a week at the same time, when the reduce to clear guy reduces everything, and they just take everything, so no one else can get anything. And the other foods like the meats and the ready meals and stuff, you ask if that's going to get reduced anymore, it's 25 to 50% off, and they say no. You know, and sure, maybe that goes to the communities, but maybe they should reduce that as well. And you look on the shelf, some of it goes out of date the day before and it's still sat on the shelves, not removed, and it's like, well, you know, it's out of date now. I mean, can you even give that to the charities now? It's a day out of date, and you know, you find other products that just haven't been reduced more than 25% the day before, out of date, and it's like, what the hell? And you know, even if you go there, I've tested, you go there an hour before they're closing, it still hasn't been reduced more than 25%, and it's like, no, this isn't right. You know, if you're going to reduce the fruit and veg, you know, reduce everything, but then, you know, would you even get any with the people that hoard everything? Pardon me. Because I do go by a don't waste food system. I get just what I need. So, you know, you end up with just some meat, and, you know, meat, sure, you can freeze it, and ready meals and stuff, you know, so that's a bit better to freeze. But I still don't be greedy. I leave plenty on the shelves for other people. I take a few things, you know, enough to live. Not greed, take everything, because it's just not right. And, you know, I roll a fair system. I leave some for other people, I take some, I leave plenty. It's the way you do it, you know, so it's fair for everyone. But then you see these people that just hoard everything. It's like, that's not really the fair way to do it, is it? I mean, especially if you're doing that every single day. I'd probably go once, maybe twice a week, you know, because obviously, you know, if you're running low on supplies, bread, I use bread a lot for sandwiches for lunch, so when the bread runs out I go buy bread, and you know, the carbs stopped reducing bread enough, so I just get the 50p toasty bread from Tesco, because that's fine. And you know, it's not short date. You know, it was nice getting the short date for 30p, but when you could just get a whole loaf of 50p and they're not going to reduce it anymore with the Hovis to below that, then well, I'll just get the 50p bread and be fine with that instead. And, you know, that's just the way I do it. So, yeah, I mean, we will start next by eating some of these perfectly imperfect pears. Obviously, yeah, a few days on it. They're grown in Cambridgeshire. They're conference pears, 800 grams. They look perfectly ordinary to me. All perfectly fine, sat in the fridge. They will keep perfectly good. And, you know, maybe I should peel these. And again, the chicken breasts, ordinary chicken breasts in wasteful packaging. I don't see how that reduces food waste particularly. Sure, you know, if you're a single person, but most people are going to be eating it in doubles, and if not, you know, you can store the other one or freeze the other one without needing it in special wasteful packaging. Very hard. Definitely needs to ripen up and soften up. So, definitely fine, you know. 60p a pack. Or were the pears 70? I don't know, it varies depending on where you are as well, because the apples were definitely 60p. And I had to go to a different store to find them, because I was just struggling to find them, so I tweeted, and then Tesco kindly helped source some, like, extensively, because the store kept promising deliveries, and they were supposed to get deliveries, but the deliveries just never came. And that's the nature of Perfectly Imperfect. They can only restock them when they have them. So, nah. But, you know, I eventually got some. And for 60p a pack and 70p a pack, it's pretty good. And the varieties could vary, the same with the way Tesco value potatoes used to do. Sometimes you'd get Maris Piper, sometimes you'd get King Edward. You know, it's just whatever they've got on the side that's imperfect and good to go. So, yeah, they definitely need to ripen up, good to go. Then you got some Gala apples from Norfolk. It says 7 apples, but still 800 grams, 60p. You know, I don't know how they've managed to weigh them out to be exactly that. Yeah, there's a couple of blemishes on this one that I've pulled out, but I mean, you know, cut them out. It's not a big deal. Bite around them. Really should rinse this by the looks of it, but I'm not gonna bother. It's gonna be okay. It's not gonna hurt me too much. And a nice fresh apple. So, 7 apples, 60p. Pretty good, in my opinion. So, wonky potatoes. Potatoes come in all shapes and sizes. Previously, some of the really wonky ones would get left in the fields. What a waste! Why leave them? Although, you know, if they're going to regrow more potatoes, big deal. We made some big changes to address this with our Perfectly Imperfect range. We now take more potatoes than ever before. But what happened to your Tesco value potatoes? You stopped that for a while, and now you're bringing Perfectly Imperfect. Nah. It's just like Tesco value would have been fine. Who cares if they're wonky, if they're cheap? The store by mine, which sells perfectly good potatoes, not even wonky, £2.80 for 10 kilos. You know, it's in bulk in a big bag. So you've got to compete with that, Tesco, for me personally. So yeah, but I mean, sometimes your potatoes also get reduced to clear 80% off. Like I got 4 baked potatoes 15p because I managed to grab them before the hoarders got everything. Well, actually, they weren't interested in potatoes. All the fruits, all the veg, potatoes, more or less a staple. I mean, I'm not saying anything, but clearly they don't eat potatoes. Yeah. To grow even more, we brought our grower and our ready meal supplier together to use those wonky potatoes to make mash, because they'll make more profit from mashed potatoes, obviously. You know, if they mash them, if they're not wonky, they don't care, and it's the same as any ordinary potatoes, so who cares if they're wonky? When they're mashed, they taste the same. So, yeah, I mean, of course they're going to mash them. After all, potatoes don't have to look beautiful to taste lovely. And the pictures of the wonky pears, some of them really are wonky, but mine were all perfectly straight and normal. But, you know, who cares if you got a limp pear that looks like that? It's like, it's nothing. You know, you can still taste the same. So, this lets more of our crop farmers and growers, which means we can offer you greater value with the same products. Try them for yourself. Like I say, it needs ripening up a bit. But that's even better, because it means they'll last even longer, especially if you keep them in the fridge. They're going to last for days and days and days. You know, keep your fruit and veg in the fridge. Obvious. That's a good way to keep them stores. Clever packaging, less waste. Hello. More wasteful packaging. I don't know what you're talking about there. Eat Fresh, Keep Fresh chicken is kept in some very clever packaging that enables you to use one chicken breast and keep the other fresh for another day. You mean like it would still be anyway? I mean, you know, maybe if you haven't covered it up, then yeah, it's kind of meh. But I mean, cling film, buy a pack of cling film, it's 60p extra for that pack. Pack of cling film, maybe £1. You can reseal the hundreds, maybe thousands packs of chicken, you know, keep the chicken fresh. It's, you know, I don't know. It's just false economy to me. So, you know, it's a fake product range. And my local store have taken Tesco Value Lemonade off the shelf. I mean, in exchange for a more expensive product, yet they keep Tesco Value Cola, Tesco Value Water. It's like, what? Just because you want to make more money? Right, leftover recipes. Have you ever thought about the food waste and leftover hiding away at the bottom of your fridge, picking out behind some cans in your cupboards? Well, cans in your cupboard are going to last for ages and ages and ages, so they're not important. But, the fresh stuff in your fridge, just make sure you keep an eye on it and don't lose things, because I don't waste food. I keep an eye on things and turn your fridge up a bit so that it's a bit colder and it'll stay fresh even longer. Instead of throwing your veg away, make curries and various things. Chop it up into a curry. Give it a try. There's wonderful meal suggestions. Tasty roasts, roast pieces left over. You can do a lot with the leftovers, obviously. Curries, sandwiches, various things. There's a lot you can make with leftover meats. Just don't waste it. Put it in the freezer if you must and have it another day. It will do very nicely as sandwich meat as well. So, yeah, plenty. There's a lot of different things if you want to look on the leftovers. There's various things to do. Leftover recipes. Easy peasy. Understanding food labels. Yeah, no difference between a best before and a use by date. Use by means you have to use it that very day. Best before, that's a use by date on the chicken. Chicken, very dangerous. Use by date on the fruits. And, the use by date is the same on the fruits, and they're not even ripe yet. So, yeah, we got 2 days before the use by date, and the fruit isn't going to even ripen up in 2 days, especially in the winter. So, yeah, that's the very natural difference. You can use things way before the best before date. It's just supposedly when it's at its best, but these aren't even ripe, so to be honest, they're best after that date, to me. So, yeah, reducing waste. Just don't buy what you don't need. If you're going to waste it, don't buy it. Sure, it might be cheap and a bargain. Let someone who needs it and eats it, rather than get it in your fridge, leave it to go off and chuck it away. Sure, it's just a few pence to you, but that's a meal to someone else, and that's what you're depriving. And especially with the new things that they're doing where they're donating what's left over to charity. If you're not going to eat it and cook it yourself and use it, then leave it on the shelves for someone else, or for Tesco to give to a charity and a food bank. Yeah, the food banks are a long way away and probably cost more to travel to get some free food if you're eligible than to buy the reduced clear stuff at 80% off. But, it's just a matter of not being a twat and selfish, to be honest, and just hoarding everything into yourself to waste. Because if you're just going to waste it, then what's the point? You're wasting money, you're wasting food, and someone else could be that food and being perfectly happy with it. But no, you're just going to sit it in your fridge to waste and go off. Just know what you're going to use. Try and keep an eye on things. Keep things as fresh as you can. Freeze them. Know how to store things properly to keep them fresher. But Tesco are committed to reducing food waste because £60 a month is a lot of money to waste and just throw away. And if you have that money to throw away, donate it to charity rather than throw it in the bin. You're depriving people of food, and you can just donate that to charity instead of throwing it in the bin and depriving other people of food, especially if it's reduced to clear foods. It's just tremendous waste. So I'd reform the system with the reduced to clear as well. If people are just going to sit there every single day and hoard it all for themselves, vary the times up. And rather than sit everything in the fridge, reduced to clear off the main shelves, where people would grab it, not caring about the dates, because a lot of people don't, either leave it on the shelves until you're going to reduce it, or reduce it the night before, and take more than 5 and 10% off. Start off at 25%, maybe even 40%, because 40% more people are going to buy it. And then, later on in the evening, reduce everything, 70, 80, 90%, but not just let one large group of people hoard everything. Because if there's a large group of people hoarding everything, stop what you're doing. Go elsewhere, Don't let them hoard it all. Just do a little bit and then be like, well, you've got plenty, especially if they've got an entire trolley full of stuff. And this is like 6 women that are there 7 days a week. They block off the aisles with their trolleys and they take everything. Full trolleys every single day, according to the staff, of reduced to clear items at 80% off. And, maybe Tesco are like, yeah, well, we're getting rid of it, but a lot of that's got to be going to waste, surely. People can't eat that much and not be wasting it unless they're selling it on, in which case, dodgy. But, it's just not right, because other people would buy it. It's just depriving other people and ripping them off. And then when they're not reducing the ready meals and the meat and the other stuff and just leaving it 25% off, I mean, sure, it might be going to charity, but these are people that wouldn't necessarily need to go to the food banks if they could just buy the food cheap. And that's the quandary, why don't they just sell it on cheap to the people who would like it? Because, hey, I would buy the meats and stuff at 80% off, and I wouldn't hoard millions of it. I'd just take really what I need, maybe enough for the week, and not visit every day and take entire baskets and trolleys like they do, because that takes the piss. If someone even gets past them, they will push into you and try and push you out the way, and then it's just ridiculous. And because they couldn't push me out the way, that's when they grabbed everything off the shelves and just held on to it themselves. So it's like, you're not getting anything. It's like, fucking hell. How rude. Community connection. Really believe that no food that could be eaten should be going to waste. This includes food on farm, factories, in store, and at home. And yes, then people, the Tesco are allowed to take entire trolleys full of reduced to clear food 7 days a week. I mean, clearly they're going to be wasting it, but, the Tesco staff don't care, so reform needed there. We're committed to doing everything we can to make sure we have good quality surplus food. It is donated to charities and community groups to help feed those in need. Our Community Food Connection programme has allowed us to donate enough food to provide over 1 million meals to over 2,200 charities and community groups across the UK. This includes homeless shelters, substance abuse rehabilitation centres, after-school clubs, food banks and domestic violence hostels. Well, I mean, Tesco could also use it in their in-store cafes and various things. Just saying. It's possible you could cook it up into some sort of special meal. I mean, I'm sure I could think of things, and you've got your own leftover suggestions. Maybe keep leftover specials. I don't know. But, yeah, definitely it could be used in that way too. But, I mean, then, if you use it all for that, then the people who rely on it to live, because, hey, the way the government is, you need these cheap foods to live, and, my God, £2.50 for 2 chicken breasts. That's quite expensive. If I didn't have the voucher to have it for free, I mean, you could buy the whole chicken, maybe cheap. I don't know. But, there are other cheap sources of protein. Chicken isn't the cheapest source of protein anymore, by any respects. Maybe it's not, but, yeah, it's complicated maths. I used to aim for about £2 a kilo for meat, but now it might be having to go up since Brexit, because, hey, apparently prices aren't going up, but, yeah, they are. Especially everywhere around here. Everything is going up, so more people are going to be relying on reduced clear stuff to live, unless, money and income goes up from everything from jobs to benefits, So, community food, blah blah blah, continues to roll out the programme across even more stores. Already in 600 stores are being run in connection with the UK charity Fair Share and social enterprise Food Clouds. I've not heard of those, maybe I might have to look into them. Through the Food Cloud programme, we're able to alert local charities, donate to charities at the end of the day. Yeah, but that's surplus food at the end of the day if people haven't bought it, so, maybe they'll stop reducing it to clear by 80%, I don't know. They can simply respond to the message from they will collect the surplus foods. I mean, I'd pay for some surplus foods, as long as I was getting some meat, some veg, some fruit, some potatoes, some starch of some sort. For a reasonable reduction, like 70, 80%, 90%, I'd go collect enough to live for the week. If they held that aside for me, that'd be fantastic, but they're not going to do that. And, charities, obviously the charities get it for free, but, maybe they could introduce schemes for people to get some stuff. And obviously they didn't want to put aside the fruits. That hard putting a thing, but you have to make orders on the online website for £25 plus just to be able to reserve anything, so it's a bit, if you want to get it, you got to get in fast and get it before it goes, because it's limited stocks. So you can check out which local stores are participating. So yeah, I got vouchers to try it, but I mean, I'm honest about everything. It's a conference pear. It tastes like a conference pear, and gala apple, like you get in your lunch packs at work, but nothing special, nothing other than it's really cheap for fruit and a good source of fruit and veg, and you get plenty. So, 60p a week for 7 days of fruit. Yeah, if you need fruit for your kids, it's pretty good, and, if they like gala apples, but maybe sometimes I'll be Gone Delicious. Maybe sometimes it would be Granny Smith. It's whatever's cheap and, maybe not the perfect. Maybe, I've never seen them do a mixed bag, but I'd suggest, what's wrong with a mixed bag of fruit? If, it's cheap, it'd be good, colourful, different coloured fruits. Obviously, they're going to expand into potatoes and veg and various things, and whatever is wonky in fruit and veg at the time. So, prices may vary, products may vary, but it'll still be cheap compared to the big products. And, you get a fair bit, so why not? But, yeah, I think that changing the reduced to clear to make it fairer would be a way to go. Or, just so that it's not the stupid 10%, 20%, 30%, big jump to 80%. And they're the people that just wait for it to be 80%. And, when it's sat off the shelves and not even reduced is the stupidest part. But, that's just what I'd do. Maybe just start off 25% or 40% and, hop it up from there to 75, 80, 90%. And, make sure everything gets reduced, not just some things, and leaving some to go out of date and not ever get reduced, because it's just going to waste it. I mean, sure, you're donating it to charities, but if people can't afford it, people can't afford it. So you need to provide some sort of compromise in food for them. There has to be some way of making cheap foods. And if reduced products, rather than letting it go to waste, is the way to go, then reduce the products. But don't just let one person hoard everything, or a group of people that all know each other and talk to each other that block off the aisles and are there every single day. I'd say that takes the piss completely. It's not right. You should limit that from happening. Maybe the same person come in every week, no problem. Once a week, maybe twice a week. It's not so bad, especially if they don't take everything. They just take, enough to live off for the week. That is acceptable. When it's one group of people taking everything every single day, that is not acceptable. Oh my god, this is a half an hour video. We will leave it here. And yeah, so Tesco are planning to reform the way they waste food, and you should as well. Think about what you're buying, think about what you can freeze, what you can't freeze. Think when you're buying it, do you actually need it? I mean, check your dates on your things when you pick it up as well. Maybe if you're not going to eat it that day, get something that's a bit longer date so it doesn't get wasted. Or, if you're going to eat it that day, then maybe pick up something that is the shorter dated, but it's up to you. I'm just saying, it's better to think about your food and not waste it. And when you're going through your fridge, think about what's been sitting there a while and what needs eating before it goes off. Don't waste it just because you bought something that's maybe, tastier, that could sit in there a few days, whilst you've got something that's going to go off that day. Have what's going to go off that day, don't waste it. I mean, common sense, really. But if you got the money to waste it, then I guess a lot of people don't care, but there are a lot of people that don't have the money to waste the food, so they don't waste the food. They get it, they cook it, they eat it, and they live off it. And it's the way of the world. A lot of people are struggling to live right now, so you got to think about that. It's not all about going to charities and food banks, because a lot of people won't do that. So you have to think about what can they afford to do in this changing world. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.